Welcome to the place where you, the individual atheist, can converse with me, the individual Christian, as we refuse to argue, debate, prove each other wrong, ignorant, or more. That's all very childish. We put that behind us. We are not children, we are adults, and therefore we're finding out, hey, I can fundamentally disagree with you without looking down on you. That's no paradox. That's the way it should be as a human being. I want to explore further the phrase high conflict personality, because I made a video, like I just said, how typically I'm seeing a theme here, a pattern here, that, I make it very obvious at the beginning of every video, saying I have no interest in debating with you. I only find out what can we agree on. And I find out that what I'm calling that bottom 5% of my viewers who are of the lowest emotional intelligence, the high conflict personalities, they're the ones basically just going straight to that, trying to prove that I'm wrong, ignorant, and immoral without even often watching the video. Meanwhile, the top 5% of the emotional intelligent viewers are the ones who are able to agree with me. I found out though that predictably, usually, not always, but often, the top 5% that can find out what can we agree on are men that are over the age of 35. It's men under the age of 35 that typically are still trying to find out what is real in this world. Who am I? So they're constantly wanting to debate with people, basically engage in conflict like it's nothing, in order to help reinforce what they already believe, or more so, as they're wanting to find out what they believe, they're learning that. But for me, age 38, I'm beyond that. I already know what I believe. I'm open-minded to a point, but ultimately, I'm not here to be in an echo chamber to have my own theories reinforced. Granted, let's think about this. I'm a Christian host where all of my viewers are atheist. So I'm not here to have anybody back me up. Hardly anyone ever does. The best we can do is find out what we can agree on, and I'm mainly relying on the people who are age 35 or older, who are not here to debate, who don't have the high conflict personality. Granted, there have been exceptions to the rule. There have been those who are under the age of 35. There are those that are female, but most of the time it's men over the age of 35 that are able to connect with me on the level that I'm wanting to connect on and finding what can we agree on. But I think there's some confusion on what constitutes as high conflict personality. So let's just do what any smart person would do, and let's Google it. So here it is. It says, what is a high conflict personality? And I'm hitting the little arrow. Here's what it says. High conflict people have high conflict personalities. This means they have an ongoing pattern of all or nothing thinking, unmanaged emotions, extreme behavior or threats, and a preoccupation with blaming others. End quote. It's that simple. That for me, that's exactly everything I think of a high conflict personalities, which typically is going to be younger males, typically. So all or nothing, unmanaged emotions. And so this goes back to what I said in another video about how, in the same way I believe that it's no paradox at all, there's no irony involved, that that all of us can fundamentally disagree with someone, yet not look down on them. And I also submitted in that video where I said, to be offended, to be insulted, to be disrespected is always a choice. And see, when I say that, people who are not of that age 35 or emotional intelligent level yet, they say, oh, then they'll say, but it's a right. They'll defend that. They'll defend their ability. Because I made a video saying, what I believe is Christians, in theory, should forfeit the right to be offended. It seems that would be in congruence with Christianity and Christian beliefs. You give up your right to be offended, because ultimately, being offended means that you are clinging on to pride. That's what I believe. So I think it's a stance of emotional intelligence to say, I forfeit my right to be offended or disrespected or hurt feelings, whatever it is. And at the same time, I refuse to look down on anyone just because they fundamentally disagree with me. But see, someone who is not emotionally intelligent, someone who, the opposite of that would be high conflict personality, is going to be the person that continues to look down on someone because they fundamentally disagree with them. They're going to be the person who, by default, allows themselves to be offended because they don't recognize that it is a choice. It is a breaker switch you can turn on or off. And I have done that, and I live my life that way. It's very much a part of my identity. But again, when you're on that closer to the bottom 5% emotional intelligence viewers in my audience compared to the top 5. That's what you're going to find. You're going to defend your right to be offended, and you're going to defend your right to argue and debate and to try to prove someone wrong, ignorant, and immoral. So ultimately, that's what a high conflict personality is. It was funny though, in the comments of one of those videos, we were talking about bionic dance, and I said, I'm not here to put her down. I'm just saying she falls in that category of high conflict personality. I mean, ultimately what she often does is she finds videos like mine, which she's done this to me 3 times, and she'll make a whole video mocking my video, and that's what she does. It's high conflict personality. It's the echo chamber. It's I'm right. And again, just looking at this, an ongoing pattern of all or nothing thinking, unmanaged emotions, extreme behavior, threats, preoccupation with blaming others. What I don't see with someone like Bionic Dance is the least bit of just mild-manneredness. Everything is so over the top. It seems to be angry and accusatory and trying to prove that other people are idiots. And I think just because I mentioned her in this, I'll probably end up in the video, and then she'll do some kind of ironic ching, or some kind of sound effect. I'm used to that. But my point is, high conflict personalities are ultimately the opposite of emotional intelligence. And this is not just with atheists. This is with Christians too. This is with everybody. This is with sports fans. You'll see this. People that basically hate each other because they're on the wrong arbitrary side of the fence. So I think we need to explore this more. We need to talk more about this. We need to make this an obvious thing that, hey, everybody, is the real issue that one person's a Christian and the other's an atheist? No. The thing that really divides us fundamentally, at least on this channel, is that someone is high conflict personality in that bottom 5% of the viewership, or they're in the top 5%. Either you have a high conflict personality, or you're on the other end. That's who I'm really wanting to communicate with. That top 5%, that's the whole premise of this channel. Because we're not high conflict. That's why it's okay that we're not debating or arguing. So again, if you want a base model of what high conflict personality is, I would say definitely, and I'm sending traffic her way, Bionic Dance. And she'll probably make a video out of this, which will probably start a whole conversation about emotional intelligence. That's fine. I've already been through that 3 times. But I'm sending my traffic to Bionic Dance so you can see what high conflict personality looks like. And I've already had people say, no, there's this other guy, his name's Red Pill and Red Black Pill, whatever, some kind of matrix things. I believe you that there's people who have a higher conflict personality than Bionic Dance. But I am saying that's a prime example of what the opposite of this channel is. We're here to find out what we can agree on. We so many people, as we're finding our tribes, it's atheist versus Christian. And if anything, what I'm basically presenting to you is the real tribes, the way I'm presenting this as the narrator, the real tribes, emotionally intelligent, therefore not wanting to debate, just want to discuss and learn from each other. And the opposite end is low emotional intelligence, high conflict. I'm here to prove you wrong. I'm here to show everyone that you're an idiot, you're immoral, you're wrong, you're stupid, all of those things. And those are the people who still try to turn these videos back into proving that God does or does not exist and all of this. That's not the point of these videos. So I welcome your comments. I want us to talk more about this, because I think the better we can understand what high conflict personality is, the better we can understand where I'm really trying to go with this channel and what I really want to do. To me, these videos, despite the word atheist in the title, these are not videos about atheism or Christianity. These are videos exploring emotional intelligence, and that itself actually helps you more in life than trying to debate or argue. Because people who debate and argue, I just said it earlier, they're trying to understand who they are. They're trying to figure out their own identity. People who aren't debating, my theory is, have already figured out who they are. Yes, open-minded to a certain degree, closed-minded on certain things, but ultimately, the status that we would hope for is emotional intelligence, to where we don't have to be debating and arguing with people to figure out ultimately what we already believe, because we already know what we believe. And because we know what we believe we can speak with people on the other end of the spectrum and say, I don't look down on you. In fact, I wonder what I can agree with you on, despite us fundamentally disagreeing. Your comments belong right here.